Hello and welcome to my documentary. Today I will be talking to you about the popular card game Yu-Gi-Oh! It first started in 1996 with the manga created by Kazuki Takahashi. The series didn't become an official card game until 1999 by the company Konami. Originally, the card game wasn't called Yu-Gi-Oh! In the manga it was called Magic and Wizards. This is because Takahashi wanted to create a simplified version of the popular card game Magic the Gathering. But due to copyright reasons, they had to change some aspects of the game. Magic cards were changed to spell cards, and the name of the game, Magic and Wizards, was changed to Duel Monsters. After the card series was released, it was turned into an anime. The anime was mostly made to help promote the card game and to introduce it to Western audiences. It was translated to English by the American company 4Kids Entertainment, and they had to make some obvious changes from the Japanese version. In the Japanese version, they had guns and blades, and the American version thought it would be too much for a child to see that. They changed sword blades to energy blades that would send your spirit to the Shadow Realm. For the guns, they had removed them entirely and replaced them with finger pointing. With the anime, it showcased some cards and how they could be used. A prime example of this would be the card Pot of Greed.
I play the magic card Pot of Greed.
I'll play this, my Pot of Greed. Then I'll activate my Pot of Greed.
I play Pot of Greed.
I activate my Pot of Greed magic card.
I play the spell card Pot of Greed. Go, Pot of Greed.
I play Pot of Greed, so I draw 2 cards.
This allows me to draw 2 more cards from my deck.
It lets me draw 2 more cards. Due to its effect, I draw 2 cards.
Now I can draw 2 cards from my deck. This lets me draw 2 cards from my deck.
This spell card allows me to draw 2 new cards from my deck.
In all honesty, I still don't know what it does. Soon after the cards were released in Japan, they held a tournament in Tokyo. The first national tournament occurred years later in 2003. Each tournament showcases how much the players strategize and care for the game. I have interviewed 2 fans to talk about their experience with the game and the series. Here's what they had to say.
I was probably 11, 12 maybe, with the cards. Yeah, I think probably started off with the cards before the TV, about 11 or 12.
When I first started watching Yu-Gi-Oh! I was about 10 years old, maybe younger.
So character, probably Joey, I would have thought.
Joey is my favourite character in Yu-Gi-Oh!
I think he just was a bit different. He seemed a bit cool. He wasn't the stereotypical character. He seemed more like westernized, because obviously it's a Japanese style cartoon. So I think the Yugi and those sort of characters didn't really relate. But Joey was a bit more Jack the Lad, a bit more of a chilled out character.
I don't know, I think Red Eyes or something like that. So Red Eyes or Blue Eyes was my favourite cards.
I think it's probably Dark Magician, because I had a rare Dark Magician when I used to play, and that was the sort of king of the deck at the time. So yeah, I think that the obvious ones, Blue Eyes, Red Eyes, those sort of ones that were the original ones. Probably Dark Magician, really.
To be honest, I don't have a clue how much Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards are worth. The only thing I do know is Pokemon cards are worth ridiculous money if you get the first edition ones. So I'm assuming it'll be the same with Yu-Gi-Oh! If you got the first edition cards, that it could be into the thousands.
It's probably astronomical amounts. I mean, I've seen some of the crazy videos you see about the Pokemon cards of how much things they go, so I'm assuming it's probably not much different to what goes on there. Hundreds of thousands, probably something ridiculous, but I wouldn't be able to put an exact price on.
On the digital one on your phone, yeah. I play the app now instead of the card game.
Well, nowadays, not so much, obviously. I think I've still got the cards somewhere, but when I was a kid, all the time, every lunchtime we'd be playing it. Every time family members all collected it, it was all sort of a thing that we just did, really. And then it moved on to the games, and then and it sort of stopped, really. I haven't played it for ages, and then they brought out a game on the App Store, which sort of piqued the interest back again, and I played that for a little bit. But yeah, I was much more into the card games, but when I was younger, I'd be playing it all the time. Yeah, I saw the challenge of it and the strategic side of things, but I was never good enough to play it that wasn't for fun. It had to be for fun, because I lost more often than I won, so it was much more about the fun than that. But I did enjoy the strategic element of working out what cards you still had left and how you were going to special summon different cards, and all those sort of aspects were quite interesting. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. I play the game for competition, to beat the other person, not for fun, to win. I would recommend the game, yeah, definitely, for other people. It's good strategy, turn-based, and you actually got to think, rather than just all these games now that make you not think, and you can win just by playing.
Oh yeah, definitely, because I think the next generation is very, very sort of technology based and very, very mundane. A lot of the games and the things you see now are very one-dimensional. There's not much thought process behind them, whereas actually Yu-Gi-Oh was, you had to think about what the other person was going to do. You had to think about the amount of cards that were in there. It sort of engaged you a lot more. You weren't just thinking of where you were next going to go around the corner and pull the trigger on a shoot 'em up game. You know, you had to think about actually what you were doing and who you had still left in your deck, and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I would definitely recommend it, I think, yeah.